folks? It's time to kick it old school. Yeah.
So, of course, you have a special guest on the show.
Yeah.
And the gremlins in the machine. I go to click something and my computer just died for a second. So I apologize. Everybody being late was on me.
I was wondering what happened. I was really, really ready to just come on saying we had a few technical difficulties, chatted up with people in the chat, but it's all good. Herb is back. Raj is back.
Be honest. You were 2 seconds away from renaming this the Herb and Rodg Podcast and just going on without me. Be honest.
Oh, I was going to do that months ago. I was going to do that. I'm ready for that. Yeah. I'm ready for that. No, I'm just playing. Never do that.
Let's say hello to the usual suspects real quick. What's up, Kat? Yes. Roll Tide. How are you doing? Carol, our favorite Georgia Bulldog in the house. What's up, Carol? How are you doing?
Appreciate you.
Definitely hit the like and subscribe. We would appreciate that from everybody.
On the road to 300 right now, so we're getting there. We're getting there.
Big Mike is back in the house. Mike had a little scare this past week, so we glad to see him back, man. Glad to see him back on his feet.
Shout out to Big Mike. We appreciate you, man.
Yep. And I saw someone there. Carol's about to be an aunt. Is that right?
A great aunt, I believe.
A great aunt for the first time. So congrats to Carol, man. We appreciate you. So
yeah, congrats, Carol. We appreciate that. Yeah.
Yep. And Lady Alpha is in the house. She says she's run on autopilot, but she's still here to join us. So we definitely appreciate you. Appreciate you tuning in. All right, Raj. Special guest.
All right. So do we need a drum roll or how does this work?
Can you keep up the drum roll for this whole thing? The list is long. I could go through all the accomplishments, but we're gonna try and short it just so we can actually still get to the show. Okay.
3, 2, 1, go.
Okay. The red shoes that Antoine Petway used to wear. This is the man that came up with them. That was him.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I remember that era. Yes.
When Deion Sanders was with the Cowboys, he used to watch this man's game film just to try to study the game and get better at it.
Oh, good gracious.
Yep.
Okay.
And when Nick Saban was on staff and he had a new DB and he was trying to teach him the right way, this is the man who he called him to try and get him straight. Yeah, he called him straight. Had him on speed dial. I think speed dial 3, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So I think it was his wife, one of his kids, then Smoke, and then the other kid. Yeah. So this how it went.
You got to put family first, then Smoke. We understand.
Kind of, depending on which kid you like more that week. But without further ado, how we doing, sir? Good to see you.
Listen. If I get a better,
any of those remotely accurate,
1,000% accurate. Minus, I was 4th or 5th on Nick's call, not first.
Okay.
So, other than that, we got it.
Okay.
And the other one was I was watching time, trying to figure out not to play like Deion because there's nobody else that can pull off 99.9% of the stuff that Time did. Yeah. If you ever tried that, you'll get beaten and embarrassed, and you wouldn't even play football anymore. He's a one-on-one. So other than that, we're good.
Yep. But the red shoes, that was
1,000%.
I heard that story.
Yeah, that's 1,000%. If Petway tell you anything different, he's lying. I got receipts upon receipts upon receipts. See, Petway is a year younger than I am. And the first phone positive that came out was the purple and gray ones in 1999, the zip-up ones. And if you're from the Washington, D.C. area, like we're phone posit, like machines.
They love the phones.
That's what we rock phone posit. From the old school Penny Hardaways to the Tim Duncans to the Vince Carters to the Baron Davis to the platinum red ones. And I had all different colors. Not only did I have the red ones, I had the black and yellow ones, the all white ones, the all black ones. Petway just saw those like, yo, Smoke, those tough. And that's when all the basketball players and football players just all hang out. They were in Bryce Lawn and we were in the Highlands. And he saw him. He went down. He got it from a man. What's my man name that used to work in the daggone Foot Locker store in University Mall from Mississippi. And he copped a pair and took off from there. And he showed up in games. I can wear them on the football field. So everybody thinks it's my brother Petway's. But that was smart.
Okay. I like that.
What's up, Brian? Yes, we do. Definitely do. See, Raj, I told you. So it wasn't necessarily 2 truths and a lie.
Before we get started, right quick, since we did just mention Deion, just a quick question. This is my personal opinion, I guess, curiosity, whatever you want to call it. Is there a chance that Travis Hunter can somewhat duplicate what Deion did in the NFL in his career? Is there a chance he can duplicate that?
There's a chance, but I don't think he will.
Okay.
Yeah.
Time is different.
Yeah.
So the thing that Travis can do better than, I don't even know if he can do it better than Deion. I don't think it's close because Travis just played a higher percentage of offensive plays than Champ or Deion in college.
Right.
But if you would have allowed Champ or Deion to do that, I think both of those guys could have done and put up the same numbers, if not better. And that's not taking anything away from Travis. But I don't think he's an athlete like those guys are. Deion's a 4.2 guy. Champ is a 4.3 guy. I think at best, Travis might run a 4.4.
He didn't run a 40, did he?
No. And here's one thing now. Fast guys run.
Yeah.
I don't care how unprepared you are or whatever. Right now, if you talk me into it enough and you have another person that's 44 years old, yeah, I'm a racer. 30 years old, I ain't going to do it because I'll tear my hamstring all the way. But and that's one of the things that's going back to the combine that I wish you would have just worked out. And I don't care if you would have worked out as a receiver or DB. But just go out there and run, shut everybody up, and just say, you know what? See y'all on the Big 12 Pro Day when I do my DB workout and receiver workout. Because I just think it's going to be a ton of stuff to do on top of your individual workout. Because he's going to have to run a 40. Do all the drills, the 5-10-5, the L drill, the vertical jump, the broad jump, and then come out and work out as a DB. Then go out and throw routes with Shador and the rest of the receivers.
Yeah.
I wish he would have just done a third of that at the combine and then go put on a show in terms of running routes and doing all his back pedals, turns, and high point and stuff as a corner.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because he won Defensive Player, I do have to mention this, and I'm gonna go back to the combine. What's your thoughts on Pat Surtain, what he's doing right now in the league, and where he could slot in as far as your favorite corners?
Oh, he's my favorite right now, and he's the best doing it right now. And he's the best one to ever do it in Alabama football history.
Okay.
And all the other guys, we just fall back and just do it. Now, he's not probably one of the most famous names that came out of Bama. He's not with Antonio Langham's and all those guys. But when you talk about flat out skill set, height, weight, coverage ability, sticky, in your hip pocket, catch the ball, return the ball, tackle, fundamentally, he's the best by far out of all of us. That's why he's won Defensive Player of the Year. None of us did.
Yeah. And I've said this several times, man. I just think DB. I mean, I understand your quarterback is going to be one of your tough positions, but with all the rules against you, and half the times with DB, it's staying with folks, and the other half, I feel like it's how much stuff can I get away with as far as staying in phase and tugging on them a little without making it
holding a little down. Bit.
Well, I just feel like the rules are so much against you that's just considered hand fighting, and I think it's part of the game. But I think DB. Not quarter. I mean, it has to be one of the hardest positions out there to play.
I would put that second just because of the physical burden that he puts on you, and mentally can wear you down too. If you're not a mentally tough individual, getting beat on a slant and the person scoring on you and a receiver spiking the ball and you looking awful to the world, you got to wash that and flush that and come back and line up and tell yourself, I'm the greatest in the world, and you can't do that again. You know, it's the same thing as a quarterback throwing an interception for a pick six. You got to flush that. You got to short memory. You got to respect that it just happened and understand how it happened, flush it, and make sure it doesn't happen again, but to play and do it again. But you were talking about tugging. When I was the DB coach at the Citadel, I coached for about 7 years in college, I used to call it magic hands. Every single DB, you have to have magic hands. You got to know when to grab, you got to know where to grab, and how to hide. It's just like a magician. We all know, and I'm sorry, I hope no magician comes and gets me later on. But
we don't know any magicians, but if that happens, we're here to protect you, man.
We know how 99% of the stuff happens.
Yeah.
But it's just the illusion. And when you have a good, savvy DB, they understand that they can put their hands on your hip and basically hold you, but don't tug. They can put their hands on your shoulder when you run a comeback and push. I used to teach pushing guys all the way down to the ground. But if you're using momentum and you're just going with the receiver's momentum and forcing them down, the referee will never call a penalty against you because you're not restricting them. And a lot of DBs don't understand it's you're restricting the receiver from going where they want to go is going to give you the penalty. If you go with them with force, that's not a penalty. So I always used to bring referees in and have the referees clinic my DBs on what to do in order to not penalty.
Yeah. That's an interesting one because I've always wondered how much of it, because you see it happens so often. I'm like, how much of it is taught? How, in what actual perspective? I've, never played the position, played very little wide receiver myself, but it's like I said, I feel like all the rules are kind of slanted against defenses and DBs, and it's, out there on an island, and you got to do what you got to do at times, I think.
Well, Herb, if you think about it like this, you never want to have a closed hand, right? As long as your hands are open, you're never going to grab. So you can manipulate and move that receiver any way that you want to, as long as you don't grab, pull, and tug. The referees are always looking for this. But and this movement, it's like when you're playing basketball, I can move you off your spot if I'm just moving with you. And it just looks like we're walking together.
Right.
and as long as I used to tell my DBs, just make one with the receiver, the referee can't tell the difference of who's doing the jostling. But when you create space and you give that room for error in the referee's eyes to see what's going on, then that's when the flags come out on you. And all the stuff happens bad. But you have to be able to grab, hold, tug, and do some of the stuff. You just got to be real crafty with it and figure out how's the game getting called today and what can I get away with.
Yes, Kat. I said it's a lesson for me. I know a little bit of it, but not.
Hey, I got my pen right here. I'm sitting there like, okay, what do I have to do? Even though I'm not playing the position, I'm sitting there. I'm taking notes. I appreciate that.
And when you think about all positions, it's how much can I get away with within the rules. Yeah. Like the best players understand the rules and they bend them. They don't break them. They bend them. Every play or offensive lineman holds. Every single play. But you will never get a penalty called if you keep your hips in front of it. So if you're rushing outside this shoulder right here, and I keep my hip aligned with your hip, I can hold you as long as I'm moving with you, and the referee will never call it. But the second that you break my hip and my hand get extended and it's away from my body and I'm doing this, that's when the hold gets called. Yeah.
So I have one that's I don't know. You hear us complain about it, and we don't know the position as well, right? What about turning around to locate the ball? How big a skill is that? How much do you guys teach it? And is it something, because we complain about it all the time. Fans, we're like, why didn't he just turn around to see it? So go into that a little bit then, since we're kind of getting a DB lesson.
Putting back my general manager hat on and my evaluation hat on, if you never played receiver or quarterback, I probably would never recruit you as a defensive back, because you have to have natural ball instincts and ball skills and awareness to understand how to get your head around and locate the ball. Most DBs try to fight the fact that they're just receivers just going backwards for a period of time.
Right.
And to locate and find the ball, for me, it was a feeling. For most, it's something that's being taught. And it's almost like having an internal clock in your head. You can't think that you're going to run for 5 seconds and the ball is not going to be thrown at you. You don't have to locate the ball.
Right.
And when the ball is being thrown at you, most DBs will probably understand it. It's like a quietness and a calmness that goes off. Like you don't hear anything. It's like the world stopping and everything's silent. And you know the ball is coming, you're like, here it comes. And you just get your head around and find it. But I was a nosy guy, and I always taught my DBs to be nosy. Once I'm even with that receiver, I'm just like you. I'm looking back to find the ball as well, too, because he's throwing it to me. He ain't throwing it to you.
Right.
But it's really confidence in just teaching it over and over and over again of saying, hey, listen, it's an internal clock. If it's a vertical route, once you get past 12 yards, the ball is coming.
Right.
Or there's a chance of the ball coming. So receiver, get your head around. DB, get your head around to locate the ball. And I hate the DB coaches that says, oh, look at the receiver head, and when his head turns your head.
I was wondering about that one. Yeah, I hear that on the broadcast all the time.
That's what I was about to say too. I was like, can't you look? And that's again, I don't know the X's and O's. I was like, can't you just look at the receiver's eyes and their head movements and kind of get an idea of when or if the ball is coming?
That's an indicator, right? But an indicator, you're already lost, right? You're already the last to know. you're in a reactionary position every single time. I'm reacting against the route that you're running, so I'm beat. So I got to catch up to you. I'm reacting to your eyes and your head going back. So again, I got to get my head around and find the ball. That receiver might be good enough to do it late enough to where the ball is coming in their hands. I just turn my head, the ball's in his hand already. So if I'm reacting off of you every single time, I'm late. I can be late to a route because I just got to catch up to you. I can't be late to the ball because the ball's in your hands.
Yeah.
So it's just an internal clock for me, and I teach it in yardage. Past 10 yards, bro, listen, get your head around, peek for a second, and see if the ball's coming. If not, get back to your relation and finding the guy and playing ball. But most DB coaches panic just like they're DBs of, you can't turn your head because you'll get beat, and if you get beat, the game's over. No, the ball has to get here. He has to catch it, and he has to score. There's multiple things that can happen. You relax, and I'm going to be relaxed. I'm going to get my head around. I'm going to locate. I'm going to peek for a second. I'm in phase with him. And phase means I'm next to you, side by side. So I have the same rights to get my head around and go intercept the daggone ball. And if he catches it while I'm looking back, oh, well. Next one, I'll get it.
Right.
Because I'm this close to it. I guarantee you, he's scared crapless. The offensive coordinator upstairs is scared crapless. And that quarterback just saw how close I was to it. Don't think they're going to try me again.
Yeah.
And that's
you bring up,
if you have your head.
I don't want to bring up anybody's name, but do you see
you
that?
You should.
No, well, no, because you would be the one bringing up the name. I don't want to put you on the spot. But do you see that a lot? And maybe not even just at the DB position, but guys who can't let that one go, and that's what kept them from being great is, hey, I made a mistake, and it just drug you down for the rest of the time.
Absolutely. I've played with – I can tell anybody, I wasn't the best athlete in my years that started at Corner, Alabama. I just had a give a crap gauge that was on 0. I gave a crap, but I didn't give a crap because if you give too much, it's going to hurt you in the long run. And to me, it's all about the teaching of the player. How are you developing the player? Are you developing the player to play with confidence? Are you coaching that player to be scared? And if your coach is scared, you're going to be scared. If your coach is nervous, you're going to be nervous. But if your coach is relaxed and confident and make sure that practice is hell, but when you get to the game, it's a calm environment, that's the best way that I taught my guys. In practice, I was a mother. You didn't want to be anywhere around me because I made it so challenging for you that when you showed up on game day, you're going to put it on that receiver enough so I don't talk to you. I rarely yelled during the games because I know the pressure of that. Like, you just got beat. You look bad. You're on national TV. I'm bringing you over there and I'm screaming to you and I'm mother effing and I'm pointing at you like this. Yeah, the world can see that.
Right.
I'm beating you down. I'm doing nothing good to you. My job is to get us out of this situation, get us out of this game so you can perform. When I get back in the film room on Sunday or Monday, whatever day that we get in there, yeah, we'll fix that. But right now, we're just going to make this tight adjustment to get you back in sync, to get you back locked in so you can go out and perform and be the most confident person in the world.
Yeah. That's an interesting take on it because I think all of us just want everybody to get chewed out all the times. And I think sometimes like we at home don't realize, okay, maybe that's not the best thing for this person right now.
But not at that moment. It's like being a parent, right? Your kid goes out and they act up and you say, you know what? I'm going to put it on you right then. I'm going to discipline you right then. Okay, good. What were you doing at home?
Yeah.
You're going to fix it at home. Now, there's times and situations that you're going to have to fix it right there. But public embarrassment might not be the best thing.
I agree with that one.
You know what I'm saying? So it's all about, I can scream and yell and tell the player as much as I want to by just putting my something by my mouth and just talking to him. So you don't know that he's getting cussed out. Because again, he's a person and he has feelings.
Yeah.
And they're going to get hurt.
This day and age, it's kind of hard to hide some of the public embarrassment, especially with social media and the cameras being out everywhere. A player can go out and have a bad game. He might get chewed out on the sideline, have a bad game, but I don't know how they're going to handle it afterwards if they happen to log on to Twitter or Instagram, whatever the case may be, and they see people lighting them up. And I know this is a thing that you guys talked about on the Bama Standard as far as fans, be a fan. It's okay to be a fan, but don't be that one person who just wants to send people messages and all that other crazy stuff. Don't do all that. It should never happen. It shouldn't happen.
So
you're not
what?
out there playing.
I don't think it should never happen, but it does, right? And that's something that none of us can control. So instead of wasting time and telling our players, hey, you should never, no, it's going to happen. So this is what we're going to do when it does happen. Embrace it. Understand that whatever university that you showed up to or you want to play, if it's big time, the higher the level, the more scrutiny that you're going to go get against you. That's just a part of what we signed up for.
Right.
And understand that scrutiny is a part of it. And if somebody's saying something behind a social page, or at some point, my man, turn the phone off.
Yeah.
Or just block that person. Because if you're allowing simple words to really interrupt your growth and your path in life, it's going to be simple for somebody to tear you down.
Yeah.
I'm into action.
Yeah.
I'm into action. If it's action, now you got to defend yourself and do what you have to do. But if it's just a fan being a fanatic, that's what a fan is. Yeah, you allow them to be who they are. And if they want to cheer for you, great. If they want to boo for you, even better, because you're giving me more energy. If you want to tell me that you're going to kill me, just as soon as you see me, make sure whatever weapon that you have it in hand.
Right.
Because I might need to defend myself. And most fans don't know if they want to pick on 6'5", 330 pound guys that throw around 400, 500 pounds steel all day and are trained to handle car accidents.
Yeah.
Both hands. Some point fans just think about that.
You're right.
Making these little
these little comments.
These guys. Yeah. I was a little dude. I'm 5'10" and a quarter, 195, and I'm throwing up 500 pounds on my back, 350 benching it, cleaning 300. And I had an anger management problem. I love fighting, so I was probably the worst person that you wanted to run.
Because you might size it up and not realize what you're getting into.
Hey, man, I love fighting. In my heyday, I wanted it, and all I had to get was and it was showtime.
Yep. Carol said
agreed.
And Cat same thing. No, they absolutely wouldn't.
Yeah.
And this was a comment with Terrion. Unless you're Terrion, realize late you're being yelled at. That was one of my favorite stories coming off the field. What do you think of Terrion? Oh, go ahead. No, you had a story.
No, you go ahead. You about to say Terrion Arnold?
Yeah. What do you think about him and his? I feel like he started off really shaky.
Right.
Got a little better as this year going on, but that's the fans' eye versus somebody.
NFL, you're gonna get cooked. Every defensive back, all of us, we all get baptized. And if you don't embrace the holy water in that heat of that baptism, you're going to fail at that position. We all go through it. We get charred up, burnt up, spit out. But if you come out holy and understand why you got baptized, you're going to be fine. And mentally is where I think Terrion separated himself from the other guy that played across from Kool-Aid. And I realized that when I don't do Bama games a lot. I've probably been to 3 Bama games my entire life, other than ones that I participated in. And I happened to go back and watch the Texas game 2 years ago that they lost the opening game. I think it was the opening game, or early on the season game, whatever that was.
Yeah, second game.
Second game, yeah.
And I saw Kool-Aid get beat on one of those post routes, but I think like Xavier Worthy cooked him on a post. And he went over to the bench and he slid down like this and wanted to hide. And T-Rob, my good man, DB coach, I think one of the best defensive coaches out there, one of the better defensive back coaches, went over there to counsel him. But I read eyes. I saw his eyes, and he had this defeated look in his face. And for the rest of the game, he played cautious.
Right.
You can't do that as a defensive back. You can't put that yellow tape around. Yellow tape removed. All gas, no brakes. It's understanding of what to do and what not to do. But you flip that on the other side, they go back in the second quarter, and I think Terrion gets like a post-dig court on him, and he was just there, but he missed it. It was a big play for a first down. He went over to the sideline, walked over to T-Rob and said, hey, T-Rob, that next time I'm going to get that shit. Mm-hmm. 2 different guys. And from that point on, everybody was saying Kool-Aid, Kool-Aid, Kool-Aid. I went back. I was doing a CBS analyst that. I said, listen, the guy is your left corner, Terrion Arnold. He ain't nothing like that other guy over there. And I'm not saying nothing about their skill set, but they're built differently mentality-wise. Yeah. That other guy over there was a receiver. The guy that's over here, Terrion Arnold, is a defensive back and a boy dog that wants it all. And when he brings it to him, don't matter what happens. He's going to accept it. With wins, he accepts. Failures, he learns from.
Right. I wonder that's why he a big reason why he kind of Kool-Aid came in as like our number 1 that last year. They were both here. And by the end, it was clearly Terrion Arnold and got drafted sooner. So I wonder how much of that actually kind of played into it.
Well, just remember, whenever in a Nick Saban defense or any defense that you look, whoever they line up at left corner, that's the one. They don't throw out there much. This side gets all the throws. So just remember that. And Terrion played the nickel position. And he's the only guy studying film all year that I saw that could cover Ladd McConkey. Only one.
I like it.
Shut him
Mike
down
had a
in
question
the SEC
for you about
championship too.
Yep. The number one unteachable instinct you look for that makes a great DB.
Ball skills. That same trait that we talked about, the ability to get your eye around. Like Travion Diggs was not a sticky coverage guy in your hips and be all over you on every route. But the one time that you make that fatal flaw, putting that ball an inch away, Travion Diggs turns into a receiver, and he's picking it, and he's going to try to take it back to that end zone. So ball skills and ball awareness is that one instinct that if you don't have, I truly can't recruit you because I don't want PBUs. I want INTs.
I got you.
Yeah.
Now, something you mentioned kind of in there, and I was reading a couple of your posts on it, combine wise. You think the combine's kind of going the way of the dinosaur, done for? Pro days, you put more stock in pro days, or you think the pros put more stock in pro days, or both?
It's not really stock that I'm putting in either one, but I the first thing about the combine is set up for failure. You're not set up for success at the combine because you're not in the best environment to perform.
I agree with that.
Right.
The three most important things I think that you get out of the combine is your medical. Make sure that you do your interviews, secure your interviews and represent yourself with great character and walk around and do the right things. And I say medical just because all 32 teams are there. So they can get their medical report on you. In terms of the interview, it's all about your character check and telling the truth. Like every single time that they ask you a question, they know the answer already.
Right.
They're just looking for you to tell them a lie so they can call you a liar and question your character. Just say, hey, listen, did you smoke in college? Yeah. How many tests did you get?
Right. I mean, the stories are already out there, like you said.
They ask you all kinds of questions during those interviews.
I ain't never smoked. Man, partying, I never did that in college. Missed a workout, man. But your strength and conditioning coach said you missed 5. Yeah. And then you failed the drug test a couple of times. You're on the list. And it's okay, but just tell the truth.
Right.
And there's nothing else that you can do about it. And in the interviewing process, that's what you want to. You want to walk away of people saying, A, he's competitive as heck, and he has high character, and we can win ball games with him.
Right.
None of us are like. If you're drafting a football player, we're all nuts. Nothing is right with us. We're off. You can't run into another person 100 miles an hour and try to hurt him repeatedly, and you're hurt yourself. Half the time you might be blacked out, but you're forcing it not to be blacked out. You might have a concussion, but you're going to force yourself to go play. Like mentally, you ain't right anyway. So we understand that. I just want to know, can you tell me the truth when I ask you a question? Because that's going to count a ton. It's going to count a ton. If I can't ask you to show up and be on time and do the right things, I can't trust you. And I can't give you $1.5 million of the owner's money that he trusts me with.
Yeah.
In that contract, or $250 million. I can't do that.
Yeah.
So based on what you just said, as far as the interview process, do you think the combine helped Milroe even more, or hurt him, or is it just the same?
I think that Jalen Milroe, whoever is handling him, I think it's bad.
Okay.
And it goes all the way back to, and I just saw my girl. It's Nicole Lynn. Nicole Lynn. I think it's his agent, but Nicole Lynn just signed a monster contract, and she does an outstanding job. And it's no knock and no shot on her because it's a client and your representative. It's the way that you work. And most of the time, the client ain't listening to your agent. But either way, I'm gonna get to the story. I wouldn't have allowed Jalen Milroe to show up at the Senior Bowl and play. Not at all. Because his best skill set doesn't say that you do 7-on-7, one-on-one throws. That's not his skill set. That's not what he does. I never want to audition my client in a space that they're going to look bad. Senior Bowl, he's going to look bad. The only time that he might look good is the game. And his game needs to be predicated to him because he has a special skill set that everyone's not going to say in a week, I'm going to get my entire play call in my scheme around what Jalen Milroe does well. It's a cookie cutter.
Right.
Like him,
especially when you're also rotating out quarterbacks.
Correct. Him and Tyler Shaw and Jackson Dart, they aren't the same guys, so you can't run the same offense. So no, you're not going to the Senior Bowl. Now at the combine, you're not throwing, but you're going to do every single on-the-field testing drill to blow this entire thing out. I want you to go run your 4.3. I want you to jump your vertical of 40 plus. I want you to broad jump 10 plus. I want you to vertical 40 plus. And then we're going to put our bags on our back, and we're going to walk out of there and we're going to say, we're inviting you to our pro day where I'm going to tell you what routes I'm going to throw, to who and how we're going to do it. You're not dictating to me how I'm throwing. My best skill set is my athleticism. And that's what I'm going to show you right now, because that's what I'm going to showcase. Nothing else. The rest of it, I'm going to leave you wandering. So you don't have to drum up anything against me. The NFL is not built to help you as a player.
No.
It's there to tear you down so they can get the best value for you in whatever round that you go.
The amount of misinformation out there is crazy.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So if you allow yourself to be seen so much, you're going to be exposed. And we all have fleas and weaknesses. Right. My job as your agent, as your representation, is to make sure that we hide all of that. And when it's time to show it, hey, listen, you already drafted him in the first round. Deal with that crap now.
Yeah. Let's say I hide a couple people. I'm gonna pick right back up there. What's up, Chris? Another Georgia Bulldog, but this is a person. Well, you like he does great play-by-play breakdowns. You want to know why a play worked or didn't work? This is a good person to follow.
He knows the X's and O's. Yes.
Yeah. I just want to ask him: does he think Georgia's going to win 10 games this year? Because I don't.
Oh, hey. We're gonna close with college football, but we can slide into that.
I like this.
I think these are character tests. Yeah, talking about the combine and stuff. What's up, Bo? Good buddy of ours. He was actually at the Senior Bowl, and he would probably agree with you because he thought it did nothing but hurt Milroe to be out there.
Yeah. Senior Bowls they're so outdated. It's for guys that are at the FCS level and the group of 5 level. Like those are the guys. Let them show up. But if you're already a top 2 or 3 round, like no, I'm not showing up to that. See me at the combine. I just finished playing 16 games anyway.
Right. Pro day is good. That's the other thing that's very interesting about the whole process. But I totally agree with you. I was shocked that Milroe just didn't want to go run. I would have told him the 40 would have blown everybody away on that. So
I sometimes like I love him, and you guys know that I stick up for him. But man, I question some of the stuff that he's doing. But hey, listen, not my problem. But getting back to pro days, I'm a somewhat conspiracy theorist. I think that what the Big 12 is doing in terms of having one Big 12 pro day with revenue sharing and just television, I think they're going to start having each conference going to have their own pro day. And I think that's when people are going to show up, TV rights, ratings, and all that. I think that's what the direction that we're going in. SEC is going to have a pro day. ACC
I would push back on that because I don't think the SEC would ever agree on it. I feel like this conference hates each other so much. And I think if Oklahoma and Texas was still in the Big 12, I don't know that they would do that.
Well, here's what I say that I'll push back against you. You saw what the agreement that the ACC just made with Clemson and Florida State?
Right.
Basically saying whoever has the most viewership is the one that's getting the most money in terms of revenue sharing. That's basically it, right? In layman terms. So now that the rest of the teams in the conference aren't getting enough money, but you can sell having the top 5 players in the draft in Charlotte, to say it's in Charlotte, and it's being viewed by millions, and you drum this up just like your own combine, you can profit from that. And that's rev sharing that you can now use to purchase a better team in terms of players and have more money for better coaches.
Right.
That's why I think less pro day, and they're going to talk their athletes and say, hey, listen, if you guys come back and you perform in our pro day, we'll give you X amount.
Right.
Why wouldn't I want to show up in my pro day
I never
get
thought about
$100,000 to perform? I don't care how much money you make. I know how much money you're going to make, but ESPN is going to say, we want to broadcast this, or Fox or whatever digital streaming service want to say. But the players going to say, hey, listen, we're performing. We want to get a piece of this too.
Yeah.
But to me, it helps everybody. Because showing up to the combine and performing, like for the NFL Network, those guys aren't getting money. They're getting a bag of gifts. But players are understanding the importance, and they have rights and the power that they have. Like, I'm not doing anything unless you're paying me for it. Or I'll just go have a private workout and go do it then, and nobody profits it from it.
Right. No, I agree with those points. Yeah. No, I agree with those points. I didn't think about it from that perspective. And it just to another point, just from what Raj and I, we watched the cut up of Milroe performing at the combine. And another reason why I think it's go away, because I didn't, like you said, A, it didn't serve him any purpose. But B, I watched 3 guys run a slant differently, and he was supposed to throw to all 3 of those guys and make himself look good. And I was just like, the pro day would definitely be where it's at. And like you said, if you can combine them all and make a little bit more money off of it, I love that. But yeah, the combine was terrible.
That's the reason.
It was just terrible.
Yeah, that's the reason I posed the question, because again, to Herb's point, I watched him at the combine and I watched him at pro day in Mobile, and I was just like, I was just a little confused. I was like, man, what are we doing? I really don't know if this is helping you at all. It doesn't seem like it's helping you. There's certain times when he's about to throw the ball during senior day, during the Senior Bowl, I'm sorry, and he looks like he wants to run. I'm like, we already know you can do that. So I just didn't understand if that was helping him at all.
You didn't understand the logic of him being at that game.
I was like,
so
what are you getting out of this?
The thing when you throw,
and he said this Bo, like I said, Bo was there. So.
Yeah. Whenever you throw, basically all day long, and you're a pretty good thrower, you can do that, right? Yeah. But routes on air should be 100%. If the ball hits the ground, you should be ashamed of yourself, because there's not a defender. But when you're not a timing and an anticipatory thrower of the football and you throw with touch and timing, like, you struggle, because the first thing that you do, you get nervous. But if you put Drew Brees out there and you just say, hey, listen, there's a dot 15 yards away and it's going to move 6 inches every single time. Just hit it. Dot, 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 because that's who he is. Now you say if the whole world is going to fall apart, we don't have the best offensive lineman that's going to block for you, Drew. You still got to go out here and win the game by scrambling, and Drew's going to struggle.
Right.
So Jalen's game is chaos.
Yeah.
And he survives in that, and he forces people to say, okay, he's strong, he's big. You can't take me down. So I'm going to make off-platform throws and off-script plays that there's nobody else in this draft could do but me. But I can't show you that in routes versus air. Yeah. Because there's nobody running after me, and that guy's running a slant at 2 steps. The next guy's running at 3. I can't time it up and do it. And if you look at it in basketball, it's just like saying, okay, Steph Curry and Zion Williamson, right? Zion goes out. His game is helter-skelter, power, rock the rim. But if you want to go out there and say, okay, we're going to play horse and shoot around, one guy's going to great. Yeah. Because that's what he does all day. Right. So, yes, you want to do it, but do you have to? No. You know, can I tell you a story from like way back there? You guys basketball fans?
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so Juan Dixon, same last name, same area, but we're not related. We had the same agent, Nate Peak. Shout out to my man Nate with Peak Management. That's when Maryland basketball was rolling with Steve.
I remember him. Yeah.
They won the national championship. Was it 02?
There you go. You know I'm a Mighty Turks fan. Home to listen. You should have shoes up there. Either way, so Nate's representing Juan. And this is where the agent has to be able to tell the client, no, you're not doing this, and I have your best interest. Sit down and shut up. So Juan is like highly competitive basketball player, but Juan didn't have handles. He was just tough as heck, can shoot the mid-range, and play great defense. Right. So that's what we're selling you on. And what you just saw him do at Maryland, that's what you're going to draft him to do. We're not going out and doing any private workouts. Well, either way, Michael Jordan at that time was an exec for the Wizards. Wanted Juan to come out there and work out, do one-on-ones. Well, you know, one-on-one workout, they're going to pick you up. Yeah. Right there and get in your hip pocket. That ain't Juan's game. Like, Juan, you're not a point guard. You're not going to go out there, dribble, and get loose. You need a pick. You need to be running around. You need screens. That's your game. Unless we're doing that, you're not going out there and auditioning yourself, because they ain't going to draft you because you can't dribble. So Nate Flash said, bro, if you do this workout, these are the drills that we're going to do. But not at one time are you going to put your hand in the ball and do any one-on-ones. Long story short, Juan goes where he's supposed to go. If he does do all that, Juan probably goes in the second or late in the first round. Mm-hmm. So you just have to be able to make sure that you showcase your client's talent the best possible way. That's a part of your job. Now, if your client is stubborn as hell and tell you to get the hell out your face, you're working for your client. Your client ain't working for you. So you're going to have to do exactly what the client wants to do. That's their problem. I would have said, you're doing it my way or just fire me, but some people let that happen.
Right. No, that's a good point. We don't ever really think about how much the representation matters for you, or the people that you pay to help you make those decisions, and how often you ignore them. So
a ton.
They get paid to do something. No, that's their job. They get paid to do it. So yeah, you need to listen to them. So
a ton. You don't know how many daggone agent stories I have with agents. They don't even tell their clients the deal.
Yeah.
And their client walk out of here thinking that you're screwing them, and they left I told the guy the other day, you left $16 million on the table, bro.
Yeah.
But he fired his agent, but
got to at that point.
Yeah.
I got a couple answers to your question. We'll get a couple random comments and get you to answer your question. So Jalen's big issue, yeah, I agree. But I also think the coaches try to fit him in a different box than what he did. So that's my hope for him at the next level, is whoever drafts him is, drafting him and figuring they can fit him in. And I think, and this is another way for pro days. Spend your time throwing to the guys familiar with. Yep, I agree with that too. And then you got some. Go ahead.
And like that comes back to, I just got off the Bama stand and I was just telling those guys, if I'm on the plane with a newly hired head coach and I'm his general manager, I'm his right hand man. The first thing that we're doing, forget going and finding out who the AD and who the booster club people are and who the guys that give you all the money. The first thing that you want to do, you got to find the 10 guys in that locker room that can sway the votes. Mm-hmm. They don't have to be the blue collar guys that go to class and do all the things right. No, those are the guys that are alpha males that's going to give you the inside details of your team. The true leaders that can help you win over that locker room first. Because if you don't win your locker room as a first-year head coach, you're going to struggle. Because the first thing that you have to do is get trust. Most guys in college look like us. Most guys that are head coaches in college don't look like us.
Yeah.
So when you go in there, you don't trust. And you have to win over that trust of whoever your good players are. And the more time that you waste not knowing who those guys are and getting them to trust you in the locker room, I don't care how great your scheme is. I don't care how great your rah-rah speeches are. I don't care how much ice cream that you give them. They still aren't going to buy into what you're selling them until they truly trust you. And that's where you see most good coaches, year 2 or 3, you see them putting along, and that's when the success rate goes up. But the first thing that you have to do, you have to go in that locker room and win it. Let those guys know you have their best interest. And it's going to hurt. It's going to suck. It's going to be tough. Purge out the worst, keep in the best, but get that locker room to totally buy into you as a person first. Forget all the scheme and all the rah-rah crap that you want to speak to them, because they ain't hearing that.
Right. Well said. Very well said, man.
Yeah.
I'm going to get you your Georgia answer real quick. What's up? Randy has just jumped in, said, how you doing? And
I can honestly say up to this point, I think I agree with 1,000% of what Smoke has said so far.
Well, Smoke, he usually agrees with about 7% of what I say. So you're
that's different. That's different.
So just hear me out on that Georgia.
Well, let me give you this and then come with it. Then. So he says 10 ceiling, 8-4 floor. That's from Chris. Then he kind of followed up 3 games away with 3 losses that didn't happen. And one more. Ugly wins, but still just 2 losses before playing Notre Dame. And I thought I starred one more from him. Yeah.
Agreed.
10-2 with their schedule this year. Be another great year. Honestly, now he goes off. Yep, lots of new faces. So
yeah,
that was Chris's breakdown on it.
Yeah, I'm with him. I think this could possibly be the worst year record-wise for Kirby this year.
Mm-hmm.
Because the first thing you got to tell me is who's your quarterback. If it's Gunnar Stockton, fine. If it is Gunnar, is Mike Bobo going to create a package that showcases Gunnar's skill set? Gunnar is a mobile athlete. He can do some RPOs. He can do some quarterback run. But we've seen Mike Bobo, and a great dude. Took care of me when I was on the road in terms when I was a young coach. Showed me all around South Georgia. But just being honest, this offense still looks like what Mike Bobo ran in '96. It's 2024. We got to evolve some. Either pick the pace up, go speed and space, get some new things that looks clean and fresh, and force other defensive coordinators to adjust to your playmakers, which you don't have on the outside, because that's just Georgia. And when you talk about Georgia usually win in the trenches. Last year was the worst offensive line play that I've seen in Georgia in a long time.
Agreed.
And the defensive line play was just up and down. And when we ever hear about Georgia, I mean,
it's
they
never
got
that.
8 dudes coming in. They come in 8 dudes in waves, just knocking your face off. And yeah, they can't throw the ball around the yard like everybody else. But daggone it, this line of scrimmage, they're going to win it. We didn't see that. Their best running back puts the ball on the ground more times than he puts it in the end zone. So until somebody shows me an offense that's evolved, an offensive line that's supposed to be their strength, their real strength, and a dominant run game, yeah, the SEC's gotten better. Georgia hasn't.
And we posed the question, was it about a month, maybe 4 to 5 weeks ago, Herb, about I guess to some of our Georgia fans in the chat regarding the QB battle. And I think they pretty much declared that it's going to be Gunnar Stockton as far as the winner. I don't remember the gentleman's name who's going to be vying for the position.
The other one, right? Yeah.
But I don't think it's because I think Rashada left. I think he transferred. So I forget
Rashada's gone.
Yeah, Jaden Rashada, Barrett, Alex. I mean, all those guys do is just transfer anyway. They're just transfer guys.
Yeah. So I guess we'll see come spring and going into fall.
Yeah. Kind of said, isn't this basically the college football landscape now? You don't know what you have year to year.
I agree. Yeah. But, I mean, yes, I agree. But what I would say is this, Kat. They're paying general managers close to millions of dollars to put together their best team. I don't feel sorry for anybody that's getting paid to do the job. Do the damn job, adjust to the time, adjust to the landscape that you're in, and evolve. If you're just trying to put the best team together for the next 6 months, go do that. They have rev share. They have collective. Go purchase the right ones. Put your team together. Make sure that your quarterback, OC, offensive coordinator, and your head coach all are aligned, and go get the damn job done. But this is college football. It changes. Change with it. One time, all they did was run the ball. Then they figured out the forward pass work. Nick Saban complained about how fast teams were playing. Then Nick Saban started playing fast. The good ones evolved. The average ones stay right in the middle. And the poor and pathetic ones sink at the bottom.
Yep.
Said something about my man Courtney right there. Yeah, shout out to my man Courtney Morgan. I think Courtney Morgan is doing a good job of fixing what Nick Saban left him. And I know that everyone's going to say, oh, Smoke, you're a Bama guy. Like, what Nick Saban left him in terms of personnel, that wasn't a good team.
Yeah. I said that on the program with you on the post game. People acted like DeBoer has been here 4 or 5 years. Yeah. And was just handed, and I was like, we had a lot of holes, and a lot of the things that people complained about the last year of Nick Saban, they complained about the first year of DeBoer. It's just, look, he's the greatest coach of all time. Okay. Yeah. I'm not going to take away from that. But the last couple of years were not good years, according to what his standard was. But we put on these blinders, and we were like, because I said it on the show, I said, because people were asking me what I thought the first year was. I said, I thought we have a chance to go 10-2 the first year. Because there's enough talent to get stuff done. Yeah. I said, but if you're the kind of person that thinks that he should do better than what Nick Saban did, then Nick Saban's not the best coach of all time. It can't be both. He gets Nick Saban's players and does better. So, when it came out 9-3 regular season, I was like disappointed, but I was at 10-2. I didn't think it would be 6-6. That's what I was trying to argue with people. The cover's not there.
No, sorry to interrupt you. People were also making comments about look at the temperament of the team under DeBoer. They look undisciplined, things like that, things of that nature. I was like, if you remember the last few years under Saban, I mean, we didn't always look up to par. There were a couple of guys out there that were acting up a little bit. So this didn't just start in 2024.
Like guys like staff members and players fighting on the sideline, the national championship game, like that.
That happened.
I just feel like there's just too many fans that, like, if you say something bad about anything Nick Saban did, that's just untouchable. Like, I'm never saying anything bad about that man.
It's easier for some people to use DeBoer as a scapegoat as opposed to using Saban. That's why.
Right. Yeah. Like Saban, like penalty wise, they're about the same. The only thing that I would say is the difference is you never once questioned a Nick Saban's team readiness and being prepared to play in a game.
Yeah, I would agree.
Facts.
Undisciplined and fighting and doing all that other stuff. Listen, it's football. It happens. Players, you never saw players disrespecting Nick or that staff either now. whoever that threw that punch, Kerry caught him and dropped him. He was removed from the team the next year. If Nick said get off the field, you got off. If Nick said sit down and shut up, you sat down and shut up. So it was just fans just want something to complain about every single time when things don't go their way.
This is true.
And the easiest thing to do is point and yell and tell a mild-mannered person like Kalen DeBoer that you're not doing a good job. But if you check his first-year record, it's better than Nick's.
Yeah.
Right. Don't say that too loud. He's going to get in trouble.
Yeah. they don't get that.
He was one vote away from being in the playoffs. And what happened in the playoffs, who cares? But he was one vote away. Yeah, so it's not like he did a crappy job. That receiver room, talent-wise, not up to par.
Yeah.
Right.
The running back room, not up to par. Defensive line from the standard that we've known from first, second round, third round picks all the way through. No. That's not the DBs, no. So this team was in the cupboards, personnel, it wasn't set up for great success. And if it was, I don't care how tired the old man was or says he is. Yeah, if you have a national championship team and a super talented team and you're getting paid $10 million to only babysit them, you're going to do it. But Nick looked at him and said, yeah, I'm going to have to work at this one.
I agree, though. I agree 1,000%. And I think we put on some different colored glasses to get us through this past year. Yeah.
Goggles. We put on the blind goggles, the drunk goggles. Do you guys remember 2 years ago when they beat Kirby with Bryce Young's team in Atlanta in the SEC championship? Do you guys remember the look on Nick's face when he gave that smirk to Kirby? He was like, "You let me beat you with these guys?"
Yeah. Our best wide receiver was a transfer, and our second look. I love Mechie, but Mechie was not. He just wasn't great. Player. Yeah, you know what I mean.
He was a number two. Yeah, Mechie was a number two, maybe even number three at times. But
your best play for Mechie ever, catching the winner against Auburn. Your second best was a hit against Florida. Those are the two things you probably remember Mechie about.
Good player, but he's not going to be put in the conversation of game breaker. But when you look at it, J-Mo was a transfer.
Right.
Your best running back was a transfer. Your best offensive lineman was with me over at Vanderbilt months before that, Tyler Steen.
Yep.
So you can't tell me that, oh my God, this is a ragtag crew that they got put together.
Yeah.
Not the standard of having a top 2 recruiting class, top 1 recruiting class, and having 5-star guys tugging at the starters' legs like, wait till you get out of here. And when I get in, I'm going to be better. That's not the case.
And luckily, they had Bryce Young leaving them. And I say that luckily.
Yeah.
Bryce did everything he possibly could. And
I agree. Yeah. We had an argument with somebody about that because we have a little game that we played one time, and it was take a quarterback, any Alabama quarterback. We always pick Nick Saban here just because most of the people watching now are doing that. So going from the 3-yard line, one play, and we'll give it to you. One from 3-yard line, one play. You get a quarterback, 2 wide receivers, a running back, and then you can pick anybody for your flex. And who are you taking? And I'll tell you this part. Somebody put in the comments Mac Jones, and I was like, no.
Good for them. I hope I'm playing defense.
That's what I said. I said no. And their whole argument was he won the championship and Bryce didn't. And I said, come on.
I said, come on.
Did you see that team he won the championship with? Come on.
Yeah, good enough. Listen. Yes, he did it. 2 things can be true. He won it, but I still don't want mac and cheese.
Right.
I would take Tua Tagovailoa as my quarterback.
That's an interesting one always to me.
Okay. I think he's the greatest football player in Alabama history just because of what he did for that university. From when Saban got there to what he changed in terms of recruiting elite skill players to come to Alabama, we weren't getting those guys. And his play, putting up 40-something points before halftime, we never saw that at Alabama. We were walking off at halftime he wins a Heisman if he ever plays in the second half of games. He never did. So Tua would be my quarterback. Julio Jones would be my receiver 1. I think Julio is the greatest receiver ever to play football. That's just me. Coop would be my number 2, and my flex guy would be Jalen Waddle. Running back would be – go ahead.
No, I'm sorry, Herb. Did we give the option of running back too, or was that not an option?
Yeah, you got a running back in there somewhere.
I got a running back. My flex would be Waddle.
Yes.
And my running back would be, it's a layup, Derrick Henry.
Yeah, that's who I chose.
I always give him the 3 instead of the 1 just to see if that changes. From the 1, it was always Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry,
when he started moving back, I always wondered, did that change that for anybody? So.
Nah, you seen Shaka run the ball? Shaka scored 97 yards. 98 yards, and also from 1 yard.
Yeah, no, I'm with him. I love Derrick Henry.
I think Derrick Henry, Sean Alexander, and I think Josh Jacobs is one of the most underrated running backs in Alabama.
Agreed. Sean Alexander's like from the forgotten period. That's why that everybody just kind of sleeps on him. But would you have an SC championship and an MVP in those years? So
it was the early 2000s. Yeah,
talking about the NFL MVP.
NFL MVP in 05, I think.
Yeah.
And brought his team to the Super Bowl on his back.
Yeah.
You take away bullware, busting coverages twice, and 2 Hail Mary throws by Hines Ward. Yeah, Sean's a Super Bowl winner, MVP.
Yeah.
And
by the way, you had another. That's same thing with Georgia. 10 wins against the schedule, especially given what they got coming in. So
yeah.
What did you think about Grubb ending up back in Alabama?
You know what? I'm one of them dudes that if you pass on me twice, I don't think I'm gonna look at you the third time. But when you're in the
he only passed once, right?
No, he kind of did twice. The first time I think Nick Saban wanted it. Saban wanted him, so we don't really count.
I forgot about that. I forgot about that. Okay.
And then he left the first time.
I'm speaking of Alabama. So if Alabama offers you a job and you say no, I'm always gonna. And I get what he said. And Kalen DeBoer is his guy. Yeah. And what they had out there at that time, he looked at the personnel as well too, and he's being honest. I had Roman Dunzier, I had Polk, I had 2 first-round offensive linemen, and my top 10 quarterback. Yeah, I'm gonna stay over here instead of going over there with you, Nick, because I don't see it. But it's tough turning Tuscaloosa down. It's tough. Not with that. That's a mecca of college football for most of us.
Right.
And I would say 99.9% of us in the world, unless you're like Ohio State or Notre Dame or something like that. But if I'm in the Pacific Northwest and I'm at Washington, Nick Saban said, I'm going to make you the highest paid offensive coordinator. And you got to run his offense. That's another thing too. So just thinking about it. No, I'm thinking he made the right decision with Nick, because you're not coming in and implementing your own offense. You're running what Nick wants to run, and you're learning it and you're calling it, which is tough, because then you're going to have to call Mike Locksley, Steve Sarkisian, Lane Kiffin, like those guys that run the offense. On Monday morning, they're calling those coaches. I sat in Coach Locksley's office, and the offensive coordinator that was at Alabama was called and said, hey, man, how did you do A, B, C, and D? And he got to talk him through it. So first time with Nick, I can see that. The second time when the board got on the plane, I think he should have took the job then. But either way, past that point of personal dislike or liking of him, offensively, I like his mindset. I like his no-nonsense attitude. And there's some like some salad that he throws out there that don't mean nothing. But he has more sense of direction than the guy that was there before. And he's intentional with a lot of the stuff that he says. And the way that I see the way that they're moving right now, I believe that he'll be better. Because I think he'll have an understanding of what he wants to get done and confident and have conviction in his calls and the way that he wants to run his offense. And that's all you have to have when you have great athletes. And they have good enough athletes to win 10 games. It just takes the right person to put it all together.
Right. And that's honestly where I put him at for next year is 10. I also feel like if he doesn't get 10 in the playoffs, they're going to want to fire him, which, that's neither here nor there. But I do. Yeah. And did I read also one of the posts, you do think the wide receiver room has improved from last year to this year? So
Yeah. That you always improve from what they had last year. They had running backs out there playing.
Yeah.
Wide receiver. You got Letzier Brooks, young guy out of Jersey that I recruited at Maryland, dynamic, explosive playmaker. Rico Scott. You have Isaiah Horton, big jump ball guy. Jeremy Bernard, that's a good possession receiver. That's a veteran that understands how to move the chain. Yeah. And then you have the young phenom out there, Ryan Williams, that I hope he got in the weight room and less with the chains and the fingernail polish and all the diva stuff that he does and just get back to playing football. Like the money's gonna be there, the NIL's gonna be there, social media's gonna be there. Like, get good at being good. Like, I wish that he would like watch the way that Julio Jones and Tom Brady's of the world and how those guys work. Yeah, they have their stuff off the field, but you don't have off the field until you handle on the field.
I agree.
And he had success come to him too early, too. Sometimes I believe you got to get roughed up and introduced to college football a little bit better than
what happened
to scene and Sports Center top plays. And I want all success for him, but I just want him to work in the manner of just work.
I agree. Jerry Bernard to me was by far the more steady receiver towards the end of the year.
More reliable,
You saw the question, did we think we have a 1,000-yard receiver? I actually picked Bernard before I picked Ryan Williams. He was the first one.
I went with the Germinator.
So.
Well, you know what? Here's the only reason why I won't say the Germinator. He can't run. Like, guys that can't run don't scare people.
Right.
And but you need those guys on your team because everyone, when you're putting this whole piece together, this puzzle together, everybody has to be a specific piece. Right. His piece is going to be tough yard because Ryan ain't going across the middle and catching no balls and being tough.
not more than once.
That's not his game. So don't make it that. Don't make it his game. You have a guy in there that can do that. Right. You have a guy that you just got at the transfer portal that can high point and catch 50-50 balls in the end zone. But when you want to take deep shots, intermediate dig routes that aren't in traffic, that's Ryan. Yeah. Motion, Z sweeps, trick plays, that's Ryan. We're going to get him the ball 10 to 15 times, different ways. Yeah, he's your playmaker. But your playmaker is not the grunt running across the middle, getting their head taken off. That ain't it. Because he ain't built for it. Right. He's only $180, maybe 75 pounds. He'll get to that, but unless his body tells you to do that, don't go beat up that Ferrari, man.
I agree with you, man. I agree. And Cat's talking about Germinator, good short pass. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. While you're at the receiver room, though, let's say most people, and I understand offense is going to be different. A lot of people are going to get some play. But if you had to say Jerry Bernard, and Ryan Williams, your top two, who do you think ends up winning that third spot?
Well, I think starting out it's going to be Ryan, Isaiah Horton, because if you get a guy out of the transfer portal and you don't start him, shame on you. Right. Bad you have.
Isn't that what we did with Malik Benson a little bit, though, or that was injuries or just everything going crazy?
I just don't think he was good enough.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think Jeremy Bernard would be the third guy. But I think those two young guys, Letsier Brooks and Rico Scott, could make some noise in terms of being explosive playmaking guys that you just find ways to get them the ball in space, get out of their way, and help contribute and get some more explosive plays that you struggled with last year.
Yeah. Do you think you put Rico over Jalen Hale?
See, Jalen is coming off an injury that it's going to take him time. So I would say by game 5 or 6, you might see the player that you saw last year because, again, physically, I think he's going to be okay, but it's a mental hurdle of having that injury and having somebody dive at your leg and be like, oh, my God. Like, he's going to have to take a hard hit on it. He's going to have to make a hard cut on it to know that it's fully functional and working and ready to go before he has full confidence in making the plays that he did make before he got injured. So I'm not counting on injured guys early.
I got you.
So,
go ahead, Roger. What do you want to say?
No, I just feel like Rico Scott is just one of those guys you don't want to see leave the team. So I hope he eats the season. I really, really want to see him do well. So that's adding that in real quick.
He's from Harrisburg, PA, man.
Yeah.
Bishop David High School. They are some nasty, nasty players from the Burg. From Ricky Waters, Shady McCoy, Micah Parsons. Like that part of PA, it's some issues out there. But they know how to play football.
In a good way, yeah. They know how to channel it, right?
Noah Spence.
So let me ask you this, and just looking at the SEC next year, how do you think it shakes out? What's your top 4 SEC next year? Way too early, haven't seen spring. And I guess I should have started that with who do you think is going to win the Alabama quarterback job and then go into that.
Okay.
Maybe it's a 2-part question.
Alabama quarterback, I would say Ty Simpson. Yeah. And if not Ty Simpson, you're in trouble. For simple as Ty's been there for what's this, year 3? Because I recruited Ty when I was at Vanderbilt. So this is year 3 for Ty, correct?
Yes.
I want to say he's like a redshirt junior or something.
So this is year 4 then. Sorry, this is year 4.
He's been here a minute.
He's been here for 1 year.
So he couldn't beat out Jalen Milroe at all. And we can't say because of Kalen DeBoer and whatever. He had an opportunity to do so when Tommy Reese came in.
Right.
Didn't do it either. We saw him playing the game. Didn't look good. They put the daggone lacrosse player in. So hopefully,
yeah.
Tyler.
Hey, he came back to wide receiver.
Hey, he went on to win a national championship in Notre Dame in lacrosse. So kudos to that man.
Hey man, shout out to lacrosse players. I ain't knocking them, man. I think I played lacrosse too in high school, so I get it. But he ain't the starting quarterback at Alabama.
This is true.
So I would say if this is year 4 and you can't beat out a true freshman,
right,
with a system that you know that this is year 2 for you to be in, and you have a new offensive coordinator, Ty's fairly talented in throwing the football and is a decent enough athlete.
Right.
So I would say Ty wins the job, but they still have to find ways of getting Keelan Russell into the game. Create a 15 to 20 play package for him. Because at any time, you don't want to leave him on the bench. Because guys don't stick around.
Because you know how it goes. Yeah. You know
that's
how
exactly
it goes.
what Herb. I made that same point. I said if Ty's number 1, Keelan has to be number 2. He has to get on the field, especially when you look at these first 3 games that we're playing when it's Florida State, Louisiana, Monroe, and then Wisconsin. Keelan needs to get in all 3 of those games. He needs to see some
Keelan needs to play all year.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say to you.
Kind of like with Tua and how much he got in there. And even then, he was thinking about leaving if he didn't win the job.
Yeah, him and his dad wanted him out of there. That's a whole nother story. That's not that's a whole nother story. That's a mess.
Yeah. So is Austin Mack gone then?
Austin Mack physically can't compete with those 2 guys. He's not good enough. Sorry, guys.
No,
I don't know where he goes. I
feel bad for him because he traveled. But I've said this all the time. I was like, Russell is your future no matter what happens. Ty Simpson needs to win the job this year. There's no path to Austin Mack starting ever at Alabama.
Yeah, Austin Mack really took off because I recruited Austin Mack too when I was at Maryland. He had that 1 year and he made like a jump. And everybody thought that jump was going to be another jump. But I think he's plateaued from taking that junior to senior year jump. And I don't think they've seen it, but sometimes when you have a young guy, you say it's going to click at some point, and it might. But if Jalen Milroe played that bad last year,
right,
to their standard, he's still a 2nd-round draft pick, so he can't be that daggone bad. And you have a guy that could come in there and facilitate the offense somewhat, you would have at least given him a 10 to 15 play script.
Yeah,
right.
And just say, hey, figure it out, and I'm going to show the world that you're really this good. And by you playing this well, we can actually bench this guy. But we never saw that at all. So Ty should win the job. Top 4 in the SEC. I think it's really early, but hey, man,
I agree. It's on the spot. That's definitely.
No, we here. We got to jump out there. Listen, I know how to swim. I've never put my toes in the pool. I jump straight in there. Off the dive board too. Whatever meter it is, I'm jumping off of that. Not even looking down. I just know there's water down there. So I'm gonna go Texas is in the top 4. Alabama, the way that their schedule is set up. I know people's gonna say it's pretty difficult, but I don't think it's that difficult.
I mean, you got Georgia, South Carolina, and Auburn on the road.
Yeah,
and I always put Auburn because it's Auburn and crazy stuff happens.
When you look at Auburn, it's not roster to roster. It's just when you look at the past few years that we played in Auburn, those games come down to the wire for some weird, crazy reasons. So that's the only thing that
coaches outthink themselves. They coaches get in a panic and get all sphinctered up too. They get nervous too.
So you mean they act like us fans is basically.
They're gonna come out and they're gonna run a whole bunch of trick plays. Let's get ready for the trick plays. Like, dude, just call the game, man. Nervous, Dilly. I think Missouri.
Really? I saw a post about that where you saw that they're set up for good things.
Rod, just get a quick look at their schedule. The only tough games that they have is South Carolina and Alabama at home.
See, I have not looked at Missouri's 2025 schedule. That was my next question.
We usually do a game-by-game breakdown of the SEC.
If you pull it up right now, if Drake can't get 10 out of this one, shame on you.
That's it.
Yeah, they host South Carolina. After that, of course, they host us.
Right, but the two toughest games are at home. Yeah. It's a pretty good schedule.
Yeah,
with the team that they have to get. This is their year to. Yeah, this is their year to get there. Who else can I throw in? You know what? I'll just say.
What about South Carolina?
Nah, I ain't a believer in I'm good. Shane Beamer just they have players. I just never see them put it together. Listen, I gave you 3. I got to come back to one more. But if you look at the combine this year, look how many South Carolina players showed up and wrecked it. You can't have players show up and wreck the combine and get drafted in the top 3 to 4 rounds and be on the outside all the time looking in to the SEC championship game or be on the almost list.
Yeah.
Like, to me, that don't jive.
You go with this one, kind of like Lane Kiffin?
Yes, like Lane, but on a lower scale, because Lane at least gets 10. Right? This guy don't get 10. It's always 8, 9, and hovering right there with players. But again, maybe that's his plateau. Every coach is not a championship coach. Every program is not a championship program. You kind of are what you are in the grand scheme of things most of the time.
Got to give us 4.
So how many I gave you?
We got
Alabama, Texas, and Missouri.
Texas and Missouri. Who's that 4th one?
You know what? I'm gonna jump out. I'm gonna say Texas A&M.
Wow, and Randy actually wants to be left out right now.
Yeah. So if you look at A&M's schedule and the pieces that they added around Marcel Reed in terms of the receivers, and I like what Elko did middle to last year, and you recognize that any coach that has self-awareness, like he knew the secondary sucked, called that out and fixed it, I'm okay with it. And knowing that they're all in on Marcel Reed, like the SEC got a run of really good quarterbacks that's on the cusp of being like really good.
Mm-hmm.
Nico at Tennessee, Nico needs to make that next step.
Right.
DJ Lagway, Lenore Sellers. I mean, he's more of a runner than a quarterback. Marcel Reed, Garrett Nussmeier. Like, you're looking back and like, hold on.
And I agree with this.
A&M plays.
Arch Manning. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Sorry to interrupt. A&M plays at Notre Dame. I'm just reading out some of the tougher games.
Mm-hmm.
They play at Notre Dame. They host Florida. DJ Lagway should have a good year.
Mm-hmm.
They play at LSU. We don't know what Nussmeier is going to look like next year. At Missouri.
Nussmeier's going to be fine. Nussmeier's going to be fine. It's just the defense stinks.
So they go to LSU, and then the following week they go to Missouri. Then they host South Carolina. So that's going to be their tough stretch. Those 3 right there.
They don't end with Texas next year.
I'm sorry. Yeah, they end with Texas.
Okay. So when you look at it, they have a chance to finish up the right and get into the playoffs.
Right.
If they get those, if they split 2 of those tough games, they're in.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to do it this year and don't get you 4 SEC teams. They're not going to. The committee is not going to commit that offense anymore. They saw the backlash of that of letting in a SMU. Like, come on.
Yes. Yeah.
But also, you can't let in a Bama team that's going to get drummed by 1965 wing T offense of Michigan either.
I ain't gonna lie. I went from I wanted us to be into. Man, I'm just glad the season is over. Yeah, we went to the Oklahoma game, man. That was the most frustrating experience. I can handle losing, right? I can't handle losing when you're watching a game and in the 3rd quarter you're like, we're not coming back, and there's just no.
It was just like it was like watching your team in quicksand. It just seemed like we just could not do anything right. It seemed like we kept executing the same plays, same offensive plays over and over and over. And even though we were behind, I'm like, okay, all we need is one big play. And then we had that one touchdown to Ryan Williams that got called back due to the penalty that I still don't understand.
That was one of the games that I truly questioned. Are these guys cut out to coach at this level?
Yeah.
Because I don't know.
Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I'm cutting across. I just don't know if I've ever seen a play thrown for an interception and then you go back to run the same play and throw it for a pick six. Yeah. Like it didn't work well enough the first time that you did it the second. I just don't know if I've ever seen that. Sorry, Smoke. Well, I knew you were about to say something.
No. Yeah. So when a player's going through that, it's like being in a fog. And when you're just mentally just like fatigued and washed and you're just having a bad game, like if you go to the basketball set, that's where you'll see the head coach give you a 20-second timeout, pull that real good player out and sit him down for a second. Just say, okay, just stay right here by me and just look at the game. I never thought that at one point during the season when the quarterback or whoever was having a up and down game, they're riding the roller coaster, that you ever saw him get snapped back in and get calibrated like right then and there. And that's a mark of a good coach and a good. There you go. Like that I respect the crap out of Coach Oates for saying that. You know what?
Yep.
You're trying to extend so much energy on offense and trying to score 30 points that you're allowing the defense to suffer so much because you're so burnt out and you lack the interest of being locked in. You don't have to be a great defensive player, but you just have to do your part.
Yes.
And not
put some effort into it.
And put effort into it.
Yeah.
So come sit down right here, son. And just watch the game. And if you want to boo-hoo and cry and all that, that's on you too. But just watch the way that your teammates are playing connected. And you don't have to be the one. You just got to be a part of the one. And when it's your turn to be the one, go do it. But it's a learning lesson. I just thought that Milroe just out there free landing and doing whatever he wanted to do and never got checked.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, bro.
I do agree with that.
You just threw an interception. Stop giving them opportunities to zone read. No, say, listen, we're running inside zone left. Give the damn ball.
Yeah.
And if you don't give the ball, you're going to come over here and hang out with me.
Yeah.
Period. And we ain't having this conversation. Yeah. And I'm standing firm on it.
Yeah. No, I think the Mark Sears one's a perfect thing. I do think Oates has a lot of leeway because he built that team. So I think he's definitely put his stamp on it. So I think that's what puts him ahead of DeBoer. But I would have loved to see Milroe sit down. I mean, that game we were there and you could just feel that there was no energy. And like I said, there's very few games I've watched where I said, all right, man, first play of third quarter, first drive, we'll know where the game is. And it's maddening to watch a game and know you have 0% chance of coming back for the whole rest of the game. Starting at that point.
If you would have pulled up to the Vanderbilt game, same thing. Vanderbilt was just average 2, right? I went to that game and I told my wife, I said, I'm just going to watch the way that they defend this option play the first time. If they don't fit it up the way that I think they're going to fit it up, this game's over. Get ready to get out of here. And we're getting the kids out of here early enough that we don't get trampled because they're going to run on the field. Yeah, I left midway during the fourth quarter because that thing was done. Yeah. But again, I hear what you're saying, Herb, and I don't disagree with you. But when you are the leader, you don't have to earn any points. I got all the points. Right. I just got to earn your trust early. But I'm running the show. I'm not coming in saying my way or the highway, but we've built enough and got enough sweat equity in this investment of a team for me to tell you, like, bro, if you're having a bad day, I'm going to get you out of it.
Right.
Here's how we're going to get you out of it. And if you don't want to listen to me, you're going to have to come sit down on the bench. But we're going to get you out of this bad game, and we're going to win this game. It might be 20-17, and you might have 80 yards passing, 150 rushing, but we're going to win. And we're going to get back to winning football. But we're not going to get to you throwing games away and us losing just because you want to be just ignorant as hell and selfish.
Yeah. No, I agree. I wish it had been done because it was tough to watch that. Yeah.
It takes a special person to do that. We just hope. And I think that's what Coach DeBoer can do. But at some point, he's just going to have to do it.
Yeah. I agree. And I think you'll see more of that this year. But if I had told you Oklahoma's offense wasn't going to score a single point the whole second half and only 10 in the first, you'd be like, So we drubbed them, right? Like, man,
not
exactly.
Your offense stunk too.
Yeah, we tried to outdo them offensively. So
you did in the wrong way.
Yeah, in the wrong way.
Yeah, you scored points for them too. You just threw it to the other team.
All right, man. We're kind of getting at the end. I did want to throw out one quick question to you, and then we're going to go into the questions of death.
Sure.
Who do you think wins the SEC tournament this weekend?
Ooh, Florida.
That's a good answer. That's a really
Florida.
We play them. We'll see if we win Friday.
It would be our second game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are y'all coming up?
Yeah. Huh?
Are you coming up?
I hadn't planned on it.
Oh man.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm hitting.
You got some tickets for me? You want me to come into the?
I ain't gonna tell you I got tickets. I got a place you can let rest your head. I don't got no tickets.
No, I'm working some overnights this weekend too, so I'd be out of it. I might be coming home sleeping and then waking up just to watch the games. But
yeah,
I wish I would have.
I just think Florida, their size,
yes,
how tough that they play.
I agree with this cat.
They bullied us in Tuscaloosa.
They did, but they got Auburn too at Auburn. You don't see. That's a really
Florida's
good.
a big team, man.
Yeah,
their big guys are long.
Yeah,
and they can shoot. They have an NBA like team, modern day like NBA team that can switch 1 to 5, contest all the shots, beat you up on the boards, and just play tough ass. Like they're just tough. They beat Bama up. Like Bama, I don't care what happened. I know they turned the ball over. They were loose with the ball. But, man, Mark was coming through there and would, boom, hit him. Yeah. Like, they roughed them up.
Yeah, because I don't think that was actually one of our worst turnover games. No. I think it was just the actual one. I think the last 2 or 3 was some of our better games. We just, the Tennessee one, we just blew late. And then.
Yeah. But again, the Tennessee team provides the same things: this toughness and just an uncanny ability to shoot the basketball, man.
Yeah, but for that Tennessee game, it was just that last minute, that whole gaffe that happened in the last minute. I don't know, because when I watched when we watched the Tennessee game, you could tell that Alabama was the better basketball team throughout that whole game. We were the better team. We outcoached them, outplayed them, did everything right. But then the last 30 to 45 seconds. Thing just went south. Yes, got away from us. We had some bad turnovers. Foul on holding the ball a little too long on the baseline. With that being said, some people said, "Why do you have a freshman inbounding the ball?" Is that a whole freshman mistake, or do you think that was just a mental gap that he just didn't realize what was going on?
Yeah, Fallon's going to be an NBA player next year, so y'all better appreciate him throwing the ball.
Wait! No, I want him to come back another year. I want him to come back.
Yeah, we want a lot of things, but that dude is a ball player. But just to answer your question, no. I mean, he's done it all year. You're not a freshman anymore. Once you get down to the end of the season, you're really into your sophomore year. You got close to 30 games underneath your belt?
Yeah.
Yeah, that whole him being a freshman thing, that on paper, yeah. But in all actuality and play, nah.
That's how I felt too. I said, look, this dude's been playing ball since he was a little kid. He's been through these type of situations before. He is a freshman on paper at the University of Alabama, but that's not the reason why he made that mistake. It was just a mental gaffe. I don't think it's going to happen again. And it seems like we made the late second adjustments for the next game anyway. So
and you know what, Rod?
I'm glad it happened. I'm glad it happened now as opposed to into March.
I agree with
you. In the Tennessee.
Yeah, and when you go through stumbles like that, it builds character. Because I get that you want to win during the regular season, but you want to win in March in the tournament. Yeah, like come on, knock it off. Let me learn. Let me learn from one of my failures, and don't beat me up. But you know what? I got one last thing before I got to jump off, guys, and I think that they got to fix this. Why aren't we doing the same thing in basketball that we do in football? Why aren't we taking the top 64 teams, regardless of what division that they're in, the top 64 teams, and putting them in a tournament instead of having these at-large bids, the 1-16 games that are unwatchable, 2-15 that are unwatchable, to waste my time for, say, Austin P that was 2-6 in their conference, but had a mystery run and won the OVC. Now they're playing against Florida. Like, come on, guys, knock it off. We're 2025. You got to come up with a better strategy. Just pick the best 64 teams. Have a committee. Pick the best 64 teams. 65 is going to be upset, but who cares?
They always are.
They always are. Get to number closer to 1, so you don't have to worry about 65. Get the best 65 teams in that we want to watch. Because the 13th or the 14th team in the SEC, how strong of a conference that it is this year, is way better than the winner of the OVC or the PPS or the QVC. Like, come on, knock it off. I can't. That part of it, they got to fix. Yeah. I care less about Cinderella. I already know that her slippers are going to get popped. They're made out of glass. It's going to crack. I don't care about Cinderella. Give me real good players, and I want to watch real good sporting events.
I agree. I like it, man. Well, I know we kept you a little extra, so we're going to let you go on one question tonight.
Go ahead.
Okay, one. We play a game here called Work, Play, Live, Ditch. Okay? We're going to give you 4 names. And you got to tell us which person you want to work with. That's a 40-hour-a-week work week with them. Live, this is your person who is your neighbor. Play, this is the person you're going out with Friday night when they call. And ditch, this is who you send in a voicemail when they call you.
Let's go.
All right. Stephen M. Smith.
Ditch.
Daniel Petty.
Oh, wait.
We only for all 4 days. So anytime we play this game, Rod says ditch to me before he even finds out if I'm in the game or not. So yeah.
I'm messing with you, bro.
Stephen M. Smith, Daniel Petty, Justin Riley, Marvin Constant.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna ditch Stephen A. Did Stephen M or Stephen A?
Stephen M.
Stephen M.
Ooh. Who am I gonna ditch?
That's where everybody usually starts.
Okay. I'm gonna ditch Stephen M. I'm gonna ditch him.
Or showing him this film.
It's all good.
Herb, you gotta let everybody know who he's ditching and who he's hanging out with.
I'm ditching. I'm not sending the voicemail, but we don't have enough in common to hang out. Nor does he ever want to live with me because I'll make his life miserable. Yeah, that ain't it. And he don't want to play with me because I'm too rough. And I don't play fair. To live with, just because I have Marvin.
Okay.
Yeah, that's like my brother. What's the other one? To play?
Play and work.
I would work with Petty, and I would go lift weights with Justin.
So that's y'all's play is going out to lift weights, not hitting the town?
Nah, we ain't hitting the town. We don't have that much in common. He can't hang with me.
All right, actually, I lied. The last question is even shorter. All right. Okay. You got 2 tickets to national championship game, college football, 50-yard line. Okay. It's you, and you got to invite one person from this list. Okay. Herb or Rodg.
I'm gonna stay at home and I'm gonna let both y'all go and I'm gonna watch.
Oh, see, what is this?
Come on, man. No.
The diplomatic answer is that what?
No, I'm just saying I don't like going to sporting events. I don't. So I'll be miserable sitting there like, oh, here we go again. Oh, Rod, he's gonna have Herb. You're not throwing the ball right. Hey, they're missing out protection. Oh, fellas, my wife hates going to games with me because I screw it up for every single time. I'm like, okay, they'll run. There's line up to the play, and I'm like. Yeah, they don't have enough to block him. That. Or I'll look at the coverage and I'll sit and I'll be like, oh, ball get on the perimeter, touchdown. And she'll be like, you keep messing it up. You keep on telling the end to the move. But that's how I see it. So I would not do stuff for both you guys. Both you guys go enjoy it. And I've done that before. I've given my wife and my sister-in-law all of my tickets. So whenever Bama plays the national championship, I usually fund that trip just because I'm typically winning. The only time that I've taken an L, and it was I think I was like $7 or $8 grand down just because of financing a few bets. Yeah, Mike Loxley owes me some money, so
we'll have a talk with him.
No, he's paid. He's hired me back, so we're good.
So we're good. Oh, good. Man, Smoke, we really enjoyed it, man. We appreciate you. Tell everybody where they can catch you up next or what you got working on next.
You know what? I don't have a ton working on next, man. I'm self-employed, unemployed, trying to get employed, but you can find me with a bunch of different content at Coach GV Dixon on my X. Instagram is Coach Smoke Dixon. On Mondays, 7 Central, opening kick with Daniel Petty. On Mondays, 3 p.m., the 24/7 website. On YouTube, you can find me. On Wednesdays, the same, man. Just throwing out good content, just having good fun, and just
always,
talking
man.
ball. And hopefully, I didn't bore you guys.
Nah,
we
cut people off. If hey, trust me, the conversation would have just switched all of a sudden. Like, all right, good answer. Smoke now talking about college basketball. You're like, damn, that was
exactly.
You would be able to tell. No, man, we appreciate it.
It was fun, man. Hopefully, we can do it again, man. Anytime you guys want me on, I'll jump on.
Of course, man.
Appreciate you, Smoke. Appreciate you. You have a good night. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, man. We appreciate the comments. Comments help make the show. Love y'all. Have a great night. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.